Hey guys, welcome to Algo Forces. So today we'll be moving ahead with Leetcode problem 26671, that is first completely painted row or column. So I'll explain you the description first and then we'll move ahead with the approach and then coding. Okay. So it says that you are given a zero indexed array, integer array and an m cross n integer matrix mat. Array and mat both contain integers in range 1 to m cross n. Okay. Now we have to go from each index I in array starting from index 0 and paint the cell in mat containing integer array of I. Okay, so in that case, see, I'll iterate through the array, and as and when I'm seeing one, so in matrix, I'll color that particular cell having 1. Similarly, I'm seeing 3, so I'll color the particular cell containing 3 and so on. Okay, so what we have to return is we have to return the smallest index I at which an entire row or column will be completely painted in matte. Okay, so let's see here. This row is completely painted. So at which index in array is it painted? So it is painted at 4, right? And that is index 2. So I have to return 2. And similarly, if a column gets painted first, then I have to return that particular index in array. Okay, I hope you have understood this question. Now let's move to the approach. Okay, so let's go ahead with this example. So array equals to 1, 3, 4, 2 and matrix equals to 1, 4 and 2, 3. Okay, so as I have mentioned earlier, we have to go a loop through the array R, and for each index we have to color that particular cell having that particular value, right? So is we basically I if I see this one, I cannot traverse the whole array to find one, right? I have to find an approach through which I can, if I'm seeing this one, I can directly go to that particular cell. So I have to basically find a way to get the particular cell at a constant time. So if you already got that, what we'll be doing, that we will be having a hash map so that we can access the particular cell in a constant time. Okay, so let's say I am having a map. So what it will be storing? It will be storing the particular number and the particular position. And see here, you have to realize that these numbers are already unique. It is also given in the problem description constraints. Okay, so let's say I'll be having it in this way, 1 and the particular position. So 1 is at 0, 0. Okay, 1 is at 0, 0. So I have pre-filled the map for you. Now what we have to do is, once we see that any row or column is completely filled, we have to return that particular index in array, right? So how we are gonna do it? So a row is completely filled if all the columns in that particular row are filled, right? So let's say, if how will I get that row 0 is completely filled? So if it will be filled if the columns filled is equal to the column number of columns in that particular row, right? Okay, so how we will find out that a particular row is already filled? So can I take a array and keep track of the number of columns which are getting filled? Yes, right. That would be, if I'll do that, then I'll be able to get the index in a constant time. I mean, I just have to loop through the array and I'll be able to get the particular row or column which is already filled in constant time. So we are making two arrays, that is row and row count and column count. Okay. Here instead of 2 it was supposed to be 1. I'll make the correction here because the number of rows are 2 and the number of columns are also 2. So I'll just make it 1 1, as we are starting from 0 indexed rows and 0 indexed columns. Okay, and similarly here I will just add C, which means row count, and I will add C here again, that is column count. Okay, so I will initialize it by 0 0. Okay, and here because initially there are no columns painted in row 0 and no columns painted in row 1. Similarly here it should be 0 0, that is no rows painted in column 0, and similarly in column 1. Okay, now let's start looping through array. So I am seeing 1, so I'll get that position from the map, that is 0 0. So here I'm encountering row at index 0, so it means that I have painted one cell in a particular column at row 0. So I will increment it by 1. Similarly, I am seeing column at index 0. So I'll again increment it 1 because it means that I have encountered a cell in a particular row which is at column 0. Similarly comes 3. So I will increment 1 1 again. So here I will increment it to 1, and here also I will increment it to 1. Now I am seeing 4. 4 is at 0 1. So again I will increment it to 2 and 0 and 1. So I will here increment it to 2. See now, once I have incremented uh, this 0 by 1, that is it becomes 2. So that is equal to the number of columns which we have in the matrix, right? So it means that row 0 is completely filled. So I will directly return this particular row. Okay, so that's how the whole approach will be. So here I will return the index 2 because at index 2 we have encountered 4, and that's why the row 0 got filled. Okay, so what is the time complexity of this solution? So that is order of n. Okay, because we are just traversing the array once, and n is the length of the array, and the space complexity is also order of n because we are keeping track of row count and column count. Now let's move to the coding part. Okay, so what all do we need here? We will need one array, column count equals to new integer. This is keeping track of columns in a particular row. So this will be of size mat.length because there are mat.length number of different rows, and similarly there will be a row count. This will be of mat 0 dot length. Okay, now I also need a hash map. This will be of form integer, and then there will be an integer array. You can also take a pair here. Sorry, I have made a typo here. Okay, and this I'm just initializing it by some default value. New hash map. Okay, now I'll just loop through the matrix once, and I'll just keep all the numbers in the matrix in the map. So I equals to 0, I less than map dot mat dot length, and I plus plus. Similarly for I'm just looping through all the rows, j equals to 0, all the columns. This is for columns. I'm looping through all the columns here, and I'm looping through all the rows here. Mat of 0 dot length and j plus plus. So map dot put mat of I j and new integer ij. Okay, so by using map we are keeping track of the numbers inside the matrix. Okay, now I'll just loop through the array I equals to 0, I less than array dot length, and then I plus plus. So I'll take a variable num equals to array of I. Then I will increment column count by 1, and that would be at, I will also have to take one index equals to map dot get num. Okay, so this will be the position of the number in array. So now at index 0, that is at row 0, we are incrementing the column count. That is, at row 0 we have encountered a cell at a particular column which is to be painted, and similarly we will do it for row count at index 1. Now I'll have to have a condition, that is if column count at index 0 equals to row at 0 dot length, that is if the column count has a number which is equal to the number of columns in the matrix. Sorry, this should be mat of 0 dot length, or row count at index 1 equals to mat dot length, that is the number of rows at a particular column. If it is equal to the number of rows in the matrix, then I will directly return the index. Otherwise, by default, I will return -1. Okay, so this is it. This is the whole solution. Now let's try and run it. Okay, so now let's try to submit it. See, it worked, and it is giving us good enough of result. So I hope you got this solution, and if you have any comments, do comment in the comment section. And I hope you like and subscribe this video. Okay, then bye bye.